seconds. All right, so it's full. There's a lot of information in the speech. I think that it sometimes turns into a little bit of a laundry list. There's a strategy called unification, where all the bad things are related and put together, and it goes this and this and this and this, and we've got a lot of claims. And some of those claims I think you provide information on, but a lot of the claims they just kind of run together, and there's not data supporting those points. I think you'd be better off sticking with the earlier part of your speech, which basically is that the diets don't work. Right? Forget all the bad things that they cause. Cut down on that and tell us about all the reasons why diets don't work and therefore are a waste of people's time and energy. Because I think that's where you've got the strongest argument. It's the clearest point that you're making. It's a claim of fact that they don't work, and it's pretty well developed what the reasons are. You've got good explanations about the metabolism issue that you get into, and you've got some statistics talking about how people on diets in the long run end up actually gaining weight. So there's good information on those points, and I think if you focus more on that, then you'd be able to do a little bit more with the emotional and persuasive part of the speech, which is the thing that I think is lacking the most in the speech, because you're data, stuff, claim. We don't get drawn into it very much. If you could tell us stories about women who are stressing out over their inability to lose weight and how they struggle through a diet and actually gain weight. In particular cases of people, you mentioned that there are mental stresses and psychological effects that happen. Give us a couple of case stories and personal examples of those kinds of things. There are a couple of things that are a little counterintuitive on the subject also, because you talk about us being a culture that is obsessed with thinness, and so many people are on a diet. One of the things that whenever I hear speeches like this and the ones about eating disorders, you mentioned several times the eating disorders, I think, okay, we are trapped in the middle, because on the one hand we got people telling us we're all a bunch of fat asses and we ought to lose some weight. On the other hand, we got people telling us stop being so obsessed about your weight. And what is the moderate position in this situation? Where should we be in this point? And I like the idea of, like I said, the speech early on where you're talking about the problem with the diet. What's the alternative to that? How should people eat in a way that maintains a healthy weight, isn't obsessive about this, thinness issue, but doesn't fall into the traps of dieting? And that's, I think, the way that the speech could be expanded. On presentation issues, Shannon, you still are doing a few things that are, they just indicate that you're not very comfortable when you're up there speaking. You start off, you've got your legs crossed. It's kind of like, I like to think of it as the James Bond pose. You've got the one toe pointing down on the ground, crossed against the other ankle. All you need is the gun up in your on the side there, kind of thing. You've got the script in your hand. There are lots of times when you're looking at the audience and you are talking to us, but it doesn't really ever feel like you're talking to us because you've got the script in your hand, the pages are hanging over, and it just looks like you're reading a report to us. And even if you are reading and you have it on cards, for instance, it will be less noticeable that you're reading so much if you're not just flipping through pages and letting them hang there. And so those kinds of things, I think, undermine the credibility issues. But I liked the structure that you had set up. Obviously, the attention device was a little problematic because it wasn't cooperating with you, and so it might be better to be in more control of that. Plan something out a little more. I think we talked about that when we talked about attention devices. There's always the danger that you're going to, when you do an audience survey, you're asking people questions that you're not going to get the responses you expect or need, and then things just don't work out as well as they could. All right, I probably went a little longer on you because I had the time.